drawing shapes that are three-dimensional. They're called forms. Shapes are 2D, shapes are flat. Forms are 3D. Before we start on our forms, I want to make sure you understand what parallel means. Think about a road and the sidewalks that follow that road. The sidewalks are parallel to the road. Lines that are parallel follow, they do not intersect each other. They follow the same line and never cross. So a sidewalk follows the road. An intersection is where they cross each other. Our first form is going to be a cube. There are several ways to draw a cube, but it always starts with a square. A cube is a three-dimensional square. We're going to add a second square. The bottom corner of this square needs to be inside your first square. They overlap each other. Notice that all of the edges are parallel. Those two lines are parallel and these two lines are parallel. Now we're going to connect all the corners together with parallel diagonal lines. All of those diagonal lines go in exactly the same direction. Now you made a see-through cube. To make a solid cube and not a see-through cube, I'm going to switch to pencil and do the exact same steps. So I draw my two squares and then I connect all the corners. Now I'm going to take my marker and keep only the ones that I want. So I trace my first square. I trace 1, 2, and 3 diagonals for the side. Notice that they are all pointing in the same direction. And then I do my horizontal and vertical lines. Now my cube is solid. You can erase those pencil lines if you don't want to see them. Now let's try it without pencil first. Start with your square. Then we're going to put the 3 diagonal lines going in the same direction, parallel to each other. So we're going to draw that top face and then drop a line down for the side, just like that. It takes some practice to draw a solid cube without doing pencil first. Here are some of the mistakes that I see people make all the time. You get your diagonals going, and then one of your diagonals goes in a different direction. That will not make a good 3D cube. So you want to start with your square and make sure that all the lines are going in the same direction. Then connect the horizontal top line and then drop it down for the vertical back line. Let's try turning another shape into a three-dimensional form. Let's try a triangle. Start by drawing your triangle. We're going to turn it into a pyramid. So from the top point, draw another line out a little ways and then connect the two sides. It's pretty easy. Now you have a pyramid. This is more of a top view pyramid. You can't see the bottom. So to draw one where you can see the bottom of your pyramid, we're going to start with a diamond. We're going to draw 3 lines that come from above and connect to 3 of the corners. Another kind of 3D triangle is a triangular prism. So let's start with our triangle. We're going to draw 2 diagonal lines, one from the top point and one from the side point. This line that I drew to the back is parallel to the one in the front. Let's try it again. Triangle, diagonal, diagonal that are parallel, and then a parallel line to the side of the triangle. Now let's try a rectangle. Rectangles, when they're 3D, are called rectangular prisms. So start with a long rectangle. This is going to be very similar to drawing your cube. Start with a corner that goes inside and draw a second rectangle. Then just like our cube, we're going to connect all the corners. Now let's draw a solid rectangular prism. For this first one, I'm grabbing my pencil, just like I did with the cube. I'm going to do this one vertical. So start with your rectangle. Inside, draw your second rectangle. They need to be about the same size, and they need to overlap. Then we're going to add our diagonal parallel lines to all the corners. Connect all your corners. Now I'm grabbing my Sharpie so that we can trace over the lines we want to keep. We start by keeping our first rectangle. Keep all your diagonals except that inside corner, and then keep your back edges. You can erase those pencil lines if you want. Now let's try it without pencil. Again, I'm going to start with my rectangle in whichever orientation you want it to go. Then I'm going to draw 3 diagonal lines, all parallel. Remember, don't have any wonky diagonals. Then I'm going to make a parallel line to that edge and a parallel line for the top edge, connecting those corners. Now you have a rectangular prism, just like your cube. Let's draw a cylinder. A cylinder is like a glass or a soda can. We're going to start with an oval for the top and an oval for the bottom. Now again, there's a couple different ways to draw a cylinder. This is just one. Now we're going to drop a line down from the edge of your oval to the edge of your oval. This gives you a see-through cylinder. One of the mistakes that people make when drawing a cylinder is that they drop the line down from inside the oval instead of from the very edge of the oval. Now, let's try it again and make a solid cylinder. I drew my oval. Now I'm going to drop 2 lines down from the edge, and I'm only going to draw that bottom curve. It needs to curve parallel to that top oval, just like that. Another mistake that people make when drawing their cylinders is that they draw the bottom flat. That's not a cylinder. I'm not sure what that is, but the bottom line has to curve just like the top of the cylinder. A variation on the cylinder would be to draw a glass or a cup. This means that the bottom is going to be smaller than the top. You could add a line for some liquid if your glass is clear. If you wanted to draw a liquid that you could see from the top, let's draw another cylinder. Then what you want to do is follow that top edge and draw an extra line inside. Then you can fill in your liquid. That way it looks like you've got liquid on the inside of your glass. Another mistake that people make when drawing their cylinders is they point the ends of the oval. You want to make sure that it's nice and rounded on the ends and not pinched on the ends. Let's try a cone. For this cone, we're going to start by drawing 2 sides of a triangle. Instead of making it flat, we're going to add an oval to the bottom to create our cone. Another way to draw a cone would be to draw 2 lines for your top of your triangle and then just a curve on the bottom, so you would only see part of that oval. Let's draw it again, a different direction. Draw an oval and 2 lines down to make a cone. This would be like an ice cream cone. If you wanted to, just like on our cylinder, you can add a little line so that you have stuff inside the cone, like maybe one of those paper water cups. Let's turn a circle into a sphere. This is hard to do on a flat piece of paper, but there are a few ways that we can accomplish our goal. Start by drawing a circle, and we're going to add a little highlight on one corner. This is going to make it look like light is reflecting off of our sphere. You can draw your highlight in two ways. One is with pointy edges, like I did in the first one, and the other way is to make those little edges on your highlight rounded. Let's take it to the next level. We're going to draw a rounded shape underneath, and we're going to add a shadow. This will really help make your sphere look 3D. It's darker right up next to your sphere. On the opposite side of your shadow, add a highlight to the top of your sphere. Now I'm going to draw a line for a surface that our sphere is sitting on. You can use the same technique to make an egg shape or even a teardrop shape. Add your highlights. For the egg, you can add your shadow and a surface line, or leave it out. Now that you know how to draw these 3D forms, you can get creative. These forms and these simple drawing techniques should help you create a variety of drawings, all different kinds. I can't wait to see what you create with your 3D shapes. Not shapes, forms. Shapes are flat, forms are 3D.